Okay, so the next thing we did is we put our piece of Trex up against the existing wood that's here. We actually cut it to the taper of the ground because the ground is actually slanted down. We also attached a piece of Trex up onto here so that this way it'll be covered once we install the rest of the steps in here. Now before we lay out the steps in here, we have to make sure that the steps are going to come out so it's going to be slightly over the edge right here. And the way we did that is we just take some scrap pieces that we have, put them in there just like this to see how it's going to come out when we actually cut the wood and put it in there. Now as you can see, there is a space right here, so instead of putting the piece on this end over here, we're going to cut a small little piece and we're going to put it in the back over here to bring this piece forward just like that, so that we actually have it overlapping slightly on the edge right here. So we are going to account for the spacers that are going to go in between, the hidden fasteners that is. We're going to put it in here like this. Now we're going to grab our ruler and we're going to measure the distance inside over here. And we have from this end of this piece of Trex to the inside part of the joist, we have, it's like 1 3/4 inches. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece and we're going to cut it down to 1 3/4. We're going to put it inside over here so that way it's hidden almost totally under here. 1 3/4 is only going to stick out from underneath here about maybe, I'm going to say 3/4 of an inch. So we're better off having the cut part in here instead of having that little tiny piece right over here. We want to end with the full board here if possible. All right, so let me rip this down over here. We'll stick it in there and then we'll continue. We'll put the rest of the step back together. Okay, so now we rip down our pieces that we're going to put inside here. We're going to put them all the way under. The part that is cut is going to face to the inside. This piece right here is going to face inside so we don't actually see it. It's going to be a nice clean cut. We have our other piece here we're going to stick in there. We use scrap pieces, just so you know, because as you know, Trex is not cheap. It's pretty expensive, so we used a piece of scrap piece that's not going to even really be showing underneath here. We then rip down another board like this, and now just so you know, this is how it's going to wind up coming out. We're going to have it come out just like this. It's going to overhang slightly on this edge right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put some face screws in the top right here and all the way down, and then we'll use the hidden fasteners on these pieces right here. The end piece over here, we're going to finish off with a hidden fastener here, and we're going to secure it down in here with some regular screws. All right, so let's continue with that, and we'll finish this step up. Now, what I would recommend is when you're trying to put on a piece that's fairly thin, you want to try to hide the screw back as far as you can. So what I am going to do is I'm going to pre-drill it slightly right here, just so we don't crack the end here. So we're going to pre-drill where we're going to put the screws in. Okay, and then we'll put our screws in and we'll secure this in place right here. And we'll continue down the line right here and do the exact same thing here. Okay, so now we have our first piece in right over here. Next we're going to bring these in and let's get some hidden fasteners and we're going to secure this down. Okay, so now we're going to take our first piece, we're going to slide in the Trex hidden fasteners just like that, and we're going to put them all the way down. Okay, so now we have all of our fasteners in position here. Okay, once we have it in position here, we're going to take it, bring our piece of scrap in here, tap it in, make sure it's in all the way. Same thing over here, all the way. And then we're going to drive these down till they're snug. Okay, our first piece is now cut. Let's cut our second piece and put our second piece in, and then we'll get our step finished off. Okay, so now after we have our next pieces cut, we're going to put our hidden fasteners in here. Okay, now we have all of our fasteners in. We're going to push this in place just like that. Line it up on the edge, of course. Tap it very slightly. We're going to take our piece of scrap, make sure it's in tight. Going to put our fasteners in here where they belong. Let's make sure our ends line up where we want them right here. Next, we're going to come in here with our piece of scrap, tap it in, make sure it's in. And once it's in all the way, then we can drive these home. Okay, so now after we have our board screwed down here, we're going to face nail it right through here. I did pre-drill it, just so you know, so we don't have any cracking taking place on here, because we are getting closer to the edge. Just so you know, we have about 1/4 of an inch hanging over here. We know that this product is 1 inch, so we have 1 inch, 1/4, and plus we want to go a little bit into it. So we're going to screw it in 1 1/2 inches in from the edge of the board, and that'll get us right into the meaty part of the beam. Now we're going to do it approximately 1 foot apart, and the handle of the hammer is approximately 1 foot, just so you know. Now we're going to come in here and we're going to just pre-drill it. As I said, we're going to go about 1 3/4, which is probably right about there. Just going to make sure it's in all the way, and now we'll drive that screw all the way home. Okay, now we're going to continue down through the entire Trex decking to secure it down. All right, so let me do that, and then we'll come back and we'll finish off the other step on the other side. Now moving around to the other side, as we walk past here, I'll show you we put this Trex board up on the new joist that we installed, so that is wrapped in the Trex material. We are going to add one more board onto the bottom there, so that it's almost a couple of inches above the ground and we won't see any of the new joist that we installed. Now the step itself, we're using some of the old deck boards that we had cut that were extra scrap pieces. We're going to use them and we're going to cut those to size. Now this one here, we could not cut it too well on a miter saw because it was actually two different angles. One side was, I think, like a 45 degree and the other was like a 30 degree angle. So it was a little bit difficult to cut those. But we were able to cut them and to screw them down. And what we did underneath the bottom of it is we did reinforce the step a little bit further. We added a few extra joists in there just to give us some extra support. And that's what it looks like now when it's totally finished. So we got to utilize a lot of the old parts we were talking about. And here you can see where I told you I was going to put that second board on there. We attached the second board to the side so that the new joist is not showing at all. The only thing showing is the bottom metal cleat that's going to touch into the ground. And here you can see we did not put the boards on yet, but we are going to do that. All right, so the only thing showing now is just the metal cleats touching the ground and a little bit of the 4x4. And then the deck itself is done, the step is done. We'll put those other pieces onto the sides. You can see on here we're going to do them on the side back to the house itself. And then once we get that, then we'll come back and we'll start to do the railings. We'll install the railings in our next video. And this is what it looks like when it's all finished. All right, we put our sleeves over the top already. And of course we're going to mark the height of the sleeves and we'll cut them down as needed. But this is what the finished product looks like.